Hello, this is Perry Pencil, and today I'm going to show you how to draw Batman from the Justice League movie. Let's begin. As I always do in my how to draw videos, I move down a little bit so I don't cut the character's head off at the top. Go ahead and divide your page in half. First thing I want to do is do the oval shape for Batman's head. Put a fair size oval shape in. And I'll go ahead on and do the measurements, and which I'll take my index finger and thumb, slide it down. This is where his chest line will be, and then slide it down again for where his waist will be. After you've done that, you can go ahead and put an oval shape in for the base of his neck. Then go ahead and put an oval shape for the rest of his torso. Mind you, does not have to be perfect, just has to be the same size so that the body's proportionate and then his head is smaller, of course. Let's go ahead and put that chest line in. Now we can put his shoulder line in, straight across like that, so line across, line across. Once you've established that, go ahead and put circles in for his shoulders. His arm's going to be out away from his body a little bit, so let's go ahead and put a waistline in here. For his arms, we're going to go ahead and just going to put lines down, going off the page. Do the same thing for his left arm. For this, we're going to put, let's say, oval shaped and some a tube shape for his bicep and tricep. I'm doing this only because this establishes how thick you want his arms to be. You don't have to guess at it. And then have it go off the page just like this. Do the same thing for his right arm. And you can kind of measure it by going straight across with your pencil. And circle here and then here. We'll go off the page. Now that we're at that point, let's go ahead and zoom in so that we can get a look at how to tackle Batman's cowl and his face and everything else. Okay, so let's always start with our eye line about here. I want his chin to be lower down about here. I'm gonna go ahead and put his temple line in, as I do with every drawing that's frontal. Now that is established, I'm gonna go ahead and start working on his cowl, or his mask that he wears. Let's start out with the bat ears. So we're gonna come up to where the line is I have established at the top, come down, and come over. This is always the easiest part of drawing any Batman character or version. Come up on this side, come down. For this, it goes out a little bit, so after you come down to about here, have it come out and have it come around to where I have the chin line. Do the same thing for his right side and put a jawline in just like this. Once that's done, from his bat ears in here, we're going to come in and down to near his eye line, just like this. He is wearing goggles that's up on his forehead, so I'm going to put a line here and then come over just like this before the edge of his head. And then divide it right here and right here. Now, as far as his eyes goes, it's going to come up just under his goggle and come down with a frown. And then it's going to come up under here like this. Do the same thing over here. Come up and then come down near the temple line. And this is defining his mask. So with his mask going to come around, there's going to be an opening here. I'm going to close that up like this and do the same thing for his left side. Come over and then close that up. Let's go ahead and put his nose line in. This bat mask rather is a bit different. It's modeled after almost like the shape of his face. So for his nose, I'm going to bring a line down like this, all the way down here. And then there are nostrils on this mask. That's the difference I noticed in this Batman Justice League version mask, is that the nose is defined. So we're going to come in and over like this. and then come down to a point. Now off of the point of this nose, we're going to put the mask line up and come over on this side as well. Then we can put the cowl or the mask, the edge of the jaw in where that falls, right off the bat, ears down, straight down like this, follow my pencil, and that's how I'm measuring it. Now, with his mouth, it has, and how can I put it, the signature Batman frown, so we're gonna just come up like this and come back down, and then put the corners of his mouth in, and you can add a little indentation in the middle like that. Put a line underneath for the bottom lip, and of course this version of Batman has a chin that is defined, has a line in it, so put that there. And then now we're going to come up to his eyes. For his eyes, the top portion is going to be in shadow, so we just come over like this, bring a line over like this, and then come down on the other side, and we'll close the bottom portion off. And do the same thing for his left side. And as I always do, cut this in half like this, put a line here. That way you know that it's going to be centered, and just draw his iris in. And do the same thing on the right side. All right. Now for the outside portion, it's a bit more detailed, so let me just go over here and lighten this up so that you can see what I'm doing. I have too many pencil strokes in here, so I'm gonna clean it up just a little bit. Take too long. So for this version, again, is much more detailed. So there's lines that come in and next to the nose, and it comes in and up and over like this. And then next to his eyes is going to go back around like this. Same thing on this side. This version of Batman has a lot of details, so bear with me. And we have one more line that comes in and under like that. Now, once you've done that, you can bring the outside of his mask in like this. And there's a portion of it that is holding his goggles up, so we have a little piece, it's a little square or rectangle, and it's going to come over to his goggle like that. Do the same thing for this side, and then stop. Now we're going to deal with his goggles. His goggles are a bit angular. I'm not going to do too many of them. Just come over, and it cuts down like this, so you can cut over, come straight across, and then cut up like this. Do the same thing for his left side. Make it as even as possible, just above the mask or the eye part of this mask. And then you just repeat that shape. Come in with a line like this, close it off. As simple as you can make it. Do the same thing for the left side. Just create, of course, the frame or border of his goggles. And then for this part, of course, is the bridge of the nose part is going to come up and come back down. Now, the very top part of his mask, here to the top portion of his ear, and then come down over. And then there's a piece that comes in and to the center of his frown. If you see me draw through here, it follows this contour. Same thing on this side. And it comes over and goes over to this ear. Let's put this clef in here. And then there's a portion of his mask that comes out like this on this side and this side. Now we're gonna move down to his body. Let's start off with his neck. With his neck is gonna be right just off of the edge of his jaw. And it's gonna come over like this. Do the same thing for the left side. I want to go ahead and establish the cape. The cape is going to come up and over his shoulder line like this. And do the same thing. There's another piece that goes over the top like that. We're going to come on the right side and do the same thing. Come over his shoulder and down like this. And this right here that I'm doing is the outside of the part of the cape that is up over his shoulder. And then the neck part of his mask actually defines the muscle. So we're going to bring his neck muscle line in like this, and then do the same thing for his left side. Underneath his chin, it looks like maybe like a voice box thing that he can speak through. So we just put a simple shape here and some lines, simple lines just like that. Now for the cape part, there's a piece in the center that comes over and up like this. Is very fancy looking. Comes down and repeats this shape right here, goes up. And then you can close that off like this. Coming back to his neck, there's a line that comes out here to define this part of his cowl or mask. And then he has another line that comes back here like this on both sides. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and move to his chest. For his chest, he has a armor that comes up and over. We're just gonna follow this contour shape, come down like this, and then it comes over. And then it comes up in the center. I'm gonna repeat the same thing on this side. Down, up, like the shape of a W. Then it's gonna come up and then over, just like this. Now once you've done that, you're gonna follow this over like this and then bring this line down straight, and it's gonna come up, it's gonna stop right about there. Do the same thing here, down, and then go up and meet this corner. Then we're gonna come over into the center where it meets this part and then this part. As far as the bat symbol goes, the bat symbol on his chest comes over and then it goes around here like this. Comes back up and it goes straight over, and then it's gonna go down in the center, overlapping this. Come up, repeat the same thing over, and notice off this edge right here, down, and then you can do the other side of the bat symbol around like this, and then close that. Now, the top portion of it comes over like this, straight over, up, and then this is the famous bat symbol in the middle right here with the ears, and then come over like this. And of course, I'm gonna straighten this up right here. It's a little jagged. Straight up, and then over like that. That's better. And there's two lines that divide this, here, and then here. All right, I'll back up so you can see what I'm doing. Off of this corner, there's a line that goes diagonally like this. Same thing on this side. All right, up under here, we got some straps. Straps that goes from the chest piece under his cape. Same thing on this side. And of course, it's gonna be between the shoulder and his chest. And there's little clips that goes around there. Just like that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and move over to his right arm. So let's go ahead and follow the cape around. The cape is very simple. We're gonna take this curve all the way down off the page. Same thing with the exterior part of the cape. Let's go ahead and jump onto his left side and repeat that same thing. That way later on the cape is already in place. We don't have to deal with it later. Okay, and let's take these lines out. And then there's let's divide that in half a little bit and put another line there as well. Okay, so for his right arm, he has shoulder pads. So for the shoulder pads, what I'm going to do is go ahead and have a line that comes in, wraps around, and it comes in like this and down. If you notice, I have these shapes in here to kind of define where you want to put things in. So have it come in and down like so, and over to the outside of the bicep. Then the outer part of the armor is going to come around like this, and it's going to come down. Then you have the back or the outside of the armor that's gonna come over and down like this. Then there's a little circle that indicates a bolt there. Then there's a piece that comes in like this. Now, for the bicep portion, we're gonna put a box shape that goes around like this over his bicep and come over like that. And it's gonna come this way, and cut in like that. And then follow that contour. Then there's a little buckle here that comes in and around like this, and it goes into the inside. And then on the other side, he has a piece that comes over like this. And you can put a little circle there. So it's a lot of armor that this new Justice League Batman has. It's gonna come down and follow over, come across and under like this. Then I'm gonna define the rest of the arm so you can see exactly what's going on. Now, just to explain, I know it's a lot lighter the very first in the drawing. It's just so that you know where everything is when you go to draw it in later. So I'm going to darken this in for you so you see what's going on. On off of the page. Same thing here. Now, as far as his armor goes, one part, signature part of it is the forearm guard that I just did here. Have a line come over like this and come down. Then of course he has a strap that's holding that in place, so come over and then bring this part over like that. And then he has a line that comes in like this and then another line like that. Now for the outside of the armor, the guard, he has the signature, it looks like the guards that go on the outside here that has the hooks that come up that I just drew here. Of course he has 3 of them, so you're gonna come down one more and repeat it one more time. All right. So now we're gonna do the other arm, which is the same process. You have a contour that comes in, swings down into the inside of this line right here, and it cuts over like this. Let me close this other side, by the way. And then you repeat that contour by coming over top of that with the armor to the outside of the arm. It's gonna come down, and then it's gonna go up off the edge like that. Have the other portion of the arm come in. And then there's a little piece that goes in like this. And after you've done this shoulder piece, you're gonna come down like we did before with the bicep piece that comes in around like this and then comes over like that. And then that little clip I talked about is right in the center here, over, down and over, and then let that band come off like that. And of course he has the other side of his armor on the other side, which is essentially a triangle square. I'm sorry, not triangle, rectangular. And then there's a bolt here and a line here. Matter of fact, let's move this one over just to match it. Once that's done, we're going to do the same thing we did on this side. Have this little piece come in and come over to this side. And then I'll finish the rest of this arm off so you can see what I'm doing for the left arm. We're gonna put the arm guard in, come down the center, put a border here, and then do the same thing, put the hooks that goes on the arm guard in. And of course there's 3 of them, just like on his right arm. And just as I did before, we're gonna have that guard come over like this and like that. And then there's another line that comes over across like this. And a line that goes straight down. All right, now what's left is his torso. So we're gonna follow this in here. His torso is gonna come over to about here. Let's go ahead and draw that in and go right off the page. This drawing, of course, is waist high. And do the same thing here. Let's divide it in half. Now, we're gonna begin with an arc that comes right up under here like this. And then like this. I'm actually gonna move this over a little bit. This is a little collapsed here. Here we go. And then there is a line that's going to come in here. It's almost like a zip up. So we just put essentially 2 lines that come all the way down like that. Then to get this portion done right, we're going to have 4 segments, 1 or 3 segments, 2, and then this would be 3 to go off the page. All right, so, and this follows the rib cage. So we're gonna put a line that goes like this and a line that goes straight down like that. Now, this is the armor part that protects his abs. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw this like this, put a line here and here, angle it up just like we did with his goggles, and then come over like that. And try and match them, make them as even as possible. Always do the absolute best you can whenever you're drawing. And repeat the same thing here, and then here, and then come over. Now mind you, as this goes on slant, we're following this line, so let's go ahead on and define it a little bit, but not too dark, because there are some hooks that has to go in there later. And then of course the last 2 is going to be the largest portions that go off the page, like this. All right, and of course each one of these has bolts. So let's go ahead and sketch these little circles in here. It looks very mechanical. I think it's cool. And just drop 2 of them in on each one. Now those hooks I was telling you about earlier are gonna just come out like this. You're gonna just put them in. Sketch them as best as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. And do the last one here. Do the same thing on his right side. Here. And then up here. Now the connecting pieces to this is going to follow. I'm gonna put a piece here. And it's gonna go up around like this. And then there's an arc that comes in around like that. And what's gonna hold that in place are these straps. So just put these straps in here, and then we'll have a line that comes over here like this, and then like this. And do the same thing on his right side, here and then here. So the reason why these lines are here are so we put these straps in. And then of course close it off with the other part of the strap, which wraps around it like that. And then it's a little shorter than these. These 2 are longer and this one is shorter. Same thing on this side. Have these straps come over like this. Draw the hooks in. And then the shorter one's gonna be here. All right. And then there's a line that come in like this that kind of holds it all together. Coming from his underarm here. And then there's a piece that comes in and connects these 2 and wrap around like that. So it's kind of like a body armor strap that holds everything together. And then the rest is going to go off the page here. So I'm going to go ahead and refine this cape a little bit. And then we're gonna put lines here. There's little minor detail things I'm adding in as I'm wrapping this tutorial up. And make sure I'm not missing anything. And yes, these straps right here to define this. Let's go over here and put this up like that, and then put some lines in here. And do the same thing here. Exterior contour. And put some lines right here. Now, if you've drawn along with me up to this point, you have just drawn Batman from the Justice League movie. And what I'd like to do is erase all the unwanted lines, clean it up, and at the end of the drawing, if you'd like to take a look at it, you may pause it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe by pressing this round button at the bottom. Also, click on one of the 2 top videos at the top. Please like this video, tell a friend, and share it on Facebook. Thank you. Perry Pencil.